honor to welcome to the stage the star of the brilliant film Rental Family you just saw, Academy Award winner Brendan Fraser. I know everyone's kind of still drying tears, so I'm going to try and honor that moment for all of you. But I would love, Brendan, if you could talk about this journey, because I know it began, typically as great movies do, maybe an email, maybe a call, but the best way that they start is long conversations with new friends.
I met Hikari, our director. Hikari, by the way, means light, means energy, and starting up something infectious. And she is her namesake. We sat together in the city in a hotel courtyard for a quick lunch and a chat about this screenplay about renting family members at an agency to fill the void you may be feeling in some areas of your life. And that conversation continued for about 6 hours until we were poring over the books in the library, hotel library, looking up old places that I'd been to in Japan previously, architects I admired. She was showing me a lot of stuff. Anyway, we had a lot to talk about, and it wasn't always about the movie. So I realized very quickly, as I'm sure she did too, that our collaboration would be really, really very good. So we took it from there.
I think this is such an interesting follow-up to your brilliant performance in The Whale, which of course won the Academy Award. Because it's another one about connection and about loneliness and about found family, and it doesn't work unless you put a brilliant cast of incredible actors around you. And so I'd love for you to talk about that, because so many of them are maybe not faces familiar to an American audience, but they're just absolutely incredible.
Akira Imoto-san is really a treasure in the field in Japan. See, to me, he's the Japanese Ian McKellen. He has his own theater, by the way, and he lives in an apartment above his own theater at Black Box. And he performs every morning between 8 and 9 a.m. for free. People come and watch him do something, a monologue. Or the morning that I went, he was just reading aloud from heightened Japanese text of, it was like a shopping list from a Shogun's dynasty of like bales of hay, swords, peasants who were revolting. And it was fascinating. Of course, I didn't understand much of it, but I thought it was funny because the people I were with were Japanese, and they were laughing and asked, "What's he saying?" They're like, "We don't know." They just like hearing him say it. I mean, the guy couldn't read a phone book to you, you'd be happy, right? That's Akira-san. Mari Yamamoto is, she played Aiko. You've seen her in a few things. She's worked with Takehiro Hira, who played Tada, the rental agency owner. And there's another actor, he goes by Boom. He was the one who was always worried that he was going to lose it and puke. He just makes me laugh every time. And let's not overlook newcomer young Shannon Gorman. Wow is what I always think. I mean, you saw it first here, folks, is what I gotta say. I mean, this kid is just the genuine article.
Right?
She never acted before. She's not all 9 years old on screen there.
It's like everyone's like,
I know.
wow.
She's 11 now. She came to the premiere. She'd grown like half a foot. I was like, I put a brick on your head, young lady. You took it off. She has great parents. Her dad is Irish. Her mom's Japanese. She has an intuitive, gifted, emotional bandwidth that comes. I know, as she did describe in her own kid-like way, and in early rehearsal, that she felt caught between worlds because she had instances of bullying at school, and she'd heard adults assuming that she didn't speak Japanese, although she was born in Japan, because she wasn't, to their eyes, Japanese looking enough. So it was hurtful to her, and she understood something on a level about wanting to belong and lost. And it came down to really just getting her to hit the mark, and we stopped rehearsing because we didn't want to, play your game in the locker room, as it were, and just point the camera at her. She's fantastic. She was often remind me what my lines were. Truth. And I was genuinely frightened when she did the pinky swear, by the way.
Terrifying. No, that much talent in such a young being too is also similarly terrifying. One of the things I love about this film is they had to cast somebody like you that has a kind of inane niceness and charisma that comes through. For folks that haven't got time to spend with them, it's unnervingly nice, like to the point where you're like, okay, come on, but it's true. But you have to, because at times in the story he's doing things, and as an audience you're like, don't do that, stop doing that. How did you balance that tone of him? Because we're rooting for him the whole time, and you kind of have to. It's the conceit of the piece.
Yeah, there's a moral ambiguity to the whole premise of this movie. Okay, you have a need, you're a client, you want someone to sit in as your sister, brother, grandmother, you name it, and you request this of the agency, and oh, by the way, this is a real business model, in case you didn't know, and it's been around, it's sold since the 1980s, and there are some 300 plus agencies, active has probably more now, but it's a real thing. I mean, you can rent nearly anything in Tokyo. You can rent a hedgehog if you want, and I have, but you have to ask, like, what are the ethics behind doing this? It involves maybe not overtly lying, but telling a lie of omission in the case of an adult to a child pretending to be her biological father when the child's mother knows he's not. He's hired expressly for that purpose, to make her believe. And it is teed up for a direction that could go left to center pretty quickly in a rom-com 90s kind of way. So we had to caution against making insincere choices, and that's all in Hikari's realm. But the movie really lives in between the boundaries of pretend, make believe, surrogacy, and the reality of people's lives. And what happens in between with its crinkles and sharp edges and blurriness, and that's where Hikari's talent comes in. If you have a chance, check out a film she did a couple years back called 37 Seconds. It's a subject matter that you may read an article about a young woman with a birth, born with a deficiency after 37 seconds that affected her neurologically, so she has a combination of neuromuscular disorder. Anyway, she's grown up to be a young woman, and she wants to be a young woman. She wants to experience life as much as she can, but she's been so guarded against making adult choices. She wants to have a sex life. She wants to know what love is. She wants to know what, but her mother cautioned her against that. And so the movie lives in between, that very noble human need and instinct, and then, the controlling one of her family to protect her at all costs, and relinquishing that and finding the middle ground is what Hikari does so well. I don't know if I answered your nice guy question.
No, you did. Listen, I want to talk more about it because it's so interesting as I'm walking in here and y'all are like wiping away tears and trying to find, where you are emotionally. But then you open with that incredible funeral scene and you don't even know the movie you're in until that guy sits up and you're like, oh, wow, I am in a very different movie. I'd be curious, what is your favorite of those awkwardly hilarious moments that you got to play?
Look, at the beginning of the film, we're laughing at death, bookended by its conclusion when it's a passage of beauty. And you saw the movie, you know what I'm talking about. So, with the bitter comes the sweet, and vice versa, I suppose.
Do you have a favorite of the more comedic moments that you got to play?
I always get a laugh when the the forces that be converge at the end accidentally because we're all thinking, oh no, how can we wrap all this up? How are we gonna get this guy out of the slammer? You saw the movie. I mean, that realization when they show up going, we're here to do this. We shouldn't be. And they've got like Playmobil hairdos and lawyers, you know, and we're actors. We're gonna, no, I'm gonna be shot dead, you know. Dr. Yoda walks in and says, I'm a detective. It's like a Spider-Man meme. They're like, and the realization that they think is just like, you know what? I think everything's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And you believe in them because they are a family and they've reunited and they're going to spring their long lost brother.
Yeah. I always want to stress that because I think the trailer, maybe people go into it and they have this thing. Yes, it is unbelievably great tear-jerking moments, but I want people to know how funny it is and how funny you are in it. And some of the best moments are these sort of, again, lost in translation moments that you've had because Japan, again, feels so front and foremost. What was your favorite aspect of the Japanese culture that got to sort of be displayed in this? Because I think there's not just this story of the culture, there's certain aspects of how the Japanese approach life that is sort of imparted in wisdom in it.
The sakura, the cherry blossoms themselves really are a character in the movie. And we had to wait for that player to show up by about 10 days because the bloom was late the year that we did this. So we delayed and we had to come up with something else to shoot in the meantime, and we had to reschedule, and that was meant to be at the end of the movie, so we had to shoot the ending first. And I think it was just a testament to, let's remember that this is it's a Japanese film that you saw with English language, and the crew, Japanese designers, all the crafts, the actors, honorary Japanese person by the end of it here. I think what made it work best is that everyone rallied behind Hikari, and that shows it shows such determination in a unique way to what I'm accustomed to having had worked with, you know, and the style or rhythm of a set over the last 30 years or so. The teams move like teams, like an anthill, really, to get things done. And shooting in Japan and Tokyo, I mean, it's a beehive of activity. Show hands, how many people have been to Tokyo? Well, you know what I'm talking about, right? So, did you just feel like you went back for a couple of hours? I do want to see this film. For such a energized place, it's remarkable how lonesome people can become and isolated at the same time. And there is a provision for that in Japan culturally. If you want to eat alone, you can go to a little ramen bar and sit in a booth. You don't even have to see the server if you don't want to. Behind a curtain, and they give you something delicious, and you pay for it at the bottom of the wall, which is awesome. Everything works in Japan.
And this movie shows it as well. I wanted to talk about what you were saying about Hikari, because I do think there's a very intimate relationship between director and actor, and you two very much embody that. I'd be curious whether it was in the rehearsal or through the press run, what has been the most insightful thing that she's sort of imparted to you, maybe in direction, but maybe in just conversation as far as this character in the story?
She's my sister from another mister. I'm the fourth of four sons. I wanted a sister as a kid. I did have a kid sister who passed away at birth, sadly, but I always felt bereft. And I know what boys get up to because I am one. I have three older ones, and I go to boys' boarding school, so believe me. Lord of the Flies was a guidebook. So in meeting her and knowing how energized and positive she is, that she shared with me so much of the more intimate personal details that you saw on the screen, because she does put that into her work. She did have an absent father. Her mother did tell falsehoods to her that he was not alive, and she believed that until the age of 7 or 8. And there was some guy who came through. She didn't like him very much, and it turned out that really was her father. And then he moved on, and she said that her mother, when Hikari confronted her, asked her, "Do you have love? Are you hungry? Are you provided for? Do you have a safe place to live?" You know, and for her mother, you would say, "Well, yeah," as Hikari did answer, and then they just moved on. But I mean, every mother is going to get that no matter what the circumstances. But you see that again in the relationship that Mia has with Shion. And you make an allowance for the falsehood of trying to do what's best by your child. And with, the acknowledgement that we're fallible, we're all just doing the best that we can. And that's what she was doing in that instance too. Hikari uses that, personalizes it, and incorporates that into the story. It seemed to you like each of these characters had a lived-in quality. That's because they did. She shot enough story, actually, and maybe months from now, with good fortune, we'll be seeing extra scenes on some platform, or I don't know, Easter eggy thing, whatever, in YouTube. But I mean, you'll see that there's an entire backstory with Aiko, who was an actress, and she was confronted by Japanese producers in her acting career in an awful way, and it broke her heart and sent her into this rental family agency in an effort to really try and save the people and reckon with her own demons at the same time, which she does. And Tada has a family of his own. He has a strained relationship with his 13-year-old son, so you don't know this, but when you know the gravity of it, when you see that sort of sixth sense moment when his family, he says, "No, take it again," and then that says, goosebumps and up your spine, because it just seems so simple, but so true and earned. Akira Emoto, he just can't get it wrong, so I won't give an example of him, but apart from what I already said, and Shannon, same thing. Sometimes with a good director, you can get lightning in a bottle, I think it's what she did.
I don't disagree. You've premiered the film at TIFF. You've been doing a few of these screenings. One of the things I love about it is it's definitely a film that builds an instant community, and you want to have community with people around it after you see it. I'd be curious if you've had any interesting interactions with folks since the film has come out that you'd be wanting to share.
So everyone takes something away from this film. It's not one that you forget about in the parking lot on the way to the car. Maybe you think about it a couple of days or in the shower or whatever. It'll stick with you. Because we all have such a diverse background. We all feel a sense of wanting to belong. And I think that's what is the barrier keeping us from having that connection. Not just because, we live our lives with these gadgets in our hands, or the new generation does, and therefore is not really in touch with a genuine connection. And, that's really the big ticket item for a rental family agency, is to provide for that. We can empathize with the desire to be accepted and to be a part of a group, to be a family. But we've all, in our own way, felt also there's glass, and we're pressed up, our nose is pressed up against it, and we can't get in. So, because this film is a love letter to loneliness, and that is addressed to Tokyo, could be anywhere in the world. And you saw the cinematography, it's gorgeous, it's sealed with a kiss by Hikari. It's been penned in cherry blossom pink ink. I know I'm being a poet this afternoon, but I feel strongly about this because it's going to have a meaning that's diverse to no matter who sees it. And I think that's really the magic of it. And I'm lucky to be a part of it.
I also want them to meet Hikari too, because she has this whimsical nature to her that's so infectious. And so when he says the cherry blossom egg, I'm like, yes, this is so true. I also want to talk about you because a lot of folks in this audience are people working in the industry. It's a very difficult and challenging time in the industry, probably more so than we've ever seen. But you seem to be somebody who still approaches it with such a zeal and a verve. And so, not saying that I'm going to make you impart some wisdom, but you've been doing it already. So, if you had any to give folks right now as you sort of navigate this new section of your career, what would you have them? As someone who's been in the business for 3 decades.
I've always felt like if it was easy, everybody would be doing it, no matter what your job is and it is. And advice that I was given early on was, you want to be an actor? Yeah, I do. I want to tell stories and be in front of people. And okay, well, why? What are you going to do? How are you going to get that? And you cite reasons and how can I? How will I? And the best advice for that, because you will always be met with obstacles, challenges, is to have courage. That doesn't just mean be brave, because being brave is, putting on a front. To have courage means that you acknowledge the obstacle, the foe, whatever it is, and respect it. But find a way around it. Even if you don't make friends with it, find a way around it. And to do that, you have to have courage. And one more thing, and then I'll scram, but it's important and to approach the work or the days or each scene or whatever you're doing as if it's the first time you've ever done it, and as if it will be the last time you ever will. And that's something that I learned personally. We all did. The previous 6 years, 4 of those previous 6 years, when we were all ensconced at home, we were in an existential threat of our own. Like, will there be tomorrow? We were wondering those things, whether we didn't want to think about it now or not. And I realized that when we were shooting the film The Whale, because that's really what it was about, too. And we felt that urgency. We may never be asked or able to do this job again. So give it everything you've got. And when you're done, ask yourself if you're out of moves. And if you are, it doesn't mean they're the right ones or the best ones, but if you got nothing left, then you did your job. And let others decide how that lands. Don't be your own critic. That's something I need to remind myself of all the time. But hey, we're here to make mistakes and help each other. So have courage is what I would say.
I love that. All right. I really feel like it's even a shame we should just end it right there. But since you've been there so much, real quick, top recommendation for Tokyo, and then we will go. Because I feel like we need to leave them with something really happy and upbeat, and I know you've got a good one.
Well, I thought that the Hedgehog Cafe was really good.
Yes, they do. And I've seen this Hedgehog Cafe. It's really like a thing. That's amazing.
They give you a glove and some mealworms. And if a guy falls asleep, he's kind of stinky, you sign a waiver and you say, I got a staph infection, it's my fault. But I gotta say, I did look up, can I have a hedgehog as a pet? And the answer is in California, no, you may not. So go to Tokyo, I guess.
That's perfect. Thank you, Brendan.
You're welcome, thank
you.
you.
Thank you all for watching, and I'll remind all of you to vote for Rental Family, as well as Brendan and all your local communities. Thank you.
ありがとうございます。お疲れ様でした。Oh, by the way, お疲れ様でした is something that you can say leaving a restaurant, and the guy in the back washing the dishes will go, お疲れ様です! Like that. Try it, it's fun.